So I spent a chunk of the weekend attending a chess tournament. My son, a 12-year-old, playing his first serious chess tournament. And there are like super strict rules at these chess tournaments. I didn't know. There's this massive ballroom, all these games happening. You can't be on your phone. So I go there with my phone, some reading material, and obviously I knew I was hosting the herd. I had, notes to start doing stuff, and I start looking stuff up on my phone. They're like, hey, you can't be on your phone in here. I was like, all right. So I had to put the phone away, and I had to kind of freelance it, and start doing research. So I started drilling down on one topic individual. And I got into this weird place where I'm looking at the New England Patriots and how they built their dynasty, and there were really only two constants, right? Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. You could say Gronk was a significant part of that, and we'll get to him shortly. But the way they built it was kind of fascinating. They would constantly evolve. 1 year, who was the big running back? LeGarrette Blount is rushing for 18 touchdowns. And then another year, they have, I think it was Corey Dillon had a monster running back season. And then they were like, no, we're going to pivot to running backs who can catch passes. And here's Shane Vereen out of the backfield. And then it's James White, constantly evolving. And then you look at the wide receivers, and like Deion Branch wins, I think, a Super Bowl MVP. And you got Wes Welker. And then, okay, he's done now. Let's put in Danny Amendola. And here comes Julian Edelman. And it's constantly evolving. And, now we're going to go to two tight end sets. We're going to go Gronk and Aaron Hernandez. And then now we're going to go, we're going to bring in Randy Moss. And they're constantly changing, but there were only two constants. Andy Reid and Tom Brady. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Which brings me to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and what's happening in Kansas City. And I don't know if you guys are big fantasy football players or gamblers. I do both, so I've got to be up to speed on all these injuries. And a guy that everybody in KC likes is Kadarius Toney. The kid had a lot of juice at Florida, major bounce on the outside. You get him the ball in space, he'll embarrass people. He is a super talented player, so he injures his knee. Now, injuries have been a bugaboo for him since he got to the league. Giants took him in the first round. Kadarius Toney was supposed to be special, kept getting hurt. When he did play in limited fashion, he pops on the screen. He had a nice couple moments in the Super Bowl. But Kadarius Toney hurt his knee this week, and I'm like, oh, geez, what are the Chiefs going to do at wide receiver? And you start looking at the wide receiver room, and I had to look. I'm like, whoa, Sky Moore, MVS, who they got from the Packers, Rashee Rice. And I start, thinking about, wait, Rashee Rice. That's right, the scouts love that guy. And you look at that wide receiver room, and you're like, wait a minute, the Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl with Sky Moore and MVS and Rashee Rice. What's happening here? And I start then looking historically at the Chiefs' wide receivers. And it's like, oh, okay, last year, Juju Smith-Schuster had 78 receptions. He's gone. Jerick McKinnon out of the backfield had 9 touchdowns. Whoa. They really mixed it up. The year before that, Byron Pringle. Remember him? I don't either. 5 touchdowns. Year before that, Tyreek Hill popped for a few years, obviously. Mecole Hardman, 4 touchdowns. Demarcus Robinson. Are you sensing a theme, ladies and gentlemen? Chris Conley in 2018 had 5 touchdowns. Chris Conley. I don't remember him going anywhere else doing anything. And then you look at 2019, Sammy Watkins. Remember him? The Kansas City Chiefs are doing exactly what the Patriots did. We got our constants, the head coach and the quarterback. After that, everyone else is just filler and we're rotating. Yes, Travis Kelce has been a constant, kind of like Rob Gronkowski was a constant for Brady. But what's super interesting to me is wide receiver injury to Kadarius Toney. That's not really a big deal. Like, it stinks for Toney, obviously, and it stinks to lose a player. But the way the Kansas City Chiefs system is set up, they're going to be fine. And the longer they can do this, whether it's Byron Pringle, Demarcus Robinson, Chris Conley, plug and play. And this system, to me, is super dangerous for the league because they have kind of sort of hacked the NFL. I had thought, I think I hosted the show earlier this spring, and I thought, and it's not like a newfound concept, but to hack the NFL, you need your quarterback on a rookie deal, and then you spend instantly. Chicago Bears are doing it this year. We've seen other teams around the league get a rookie deal, Tua Tagovailoa in Miami. Let's load up. Let's go get Jalen Ramsey. Let's go get Tyreek Hill. Spend when the quarterback's on the rookie deal. Then after that, you kind of got to hope that the quarterback can stay healthy and everyone else kind of gets underpaid. But Kansas City is doing the New England model, and it's a little scary because, I had to look this up. In 19 years, the Patriots won 12 or more games 13 times. That is staggering success. The NFL is built for parity. They want everybody kind of good. Everybody at the start of training camp here in the next week. Your team's got a shot at the playoffs. Super Bowl bubbles. By the way, the staff here doesn't love a Super Bowl bubble, so we're going to do AFC tiers coming up shortly. But you look at the tiers, and it's like, wow, there's a couple heavyweights, then you've got like a robust middle class, and then a couple of bottom feeders. Legitimately, at least 24 teams in this league go into this season thinking we've got a shot at the playoffs. And you can look at the win totals and see the league is built for parity. The Patriots solve that. And it's a little bit interesting that the Kansas City Chiefs are on that track where they're going to say, hey, Jerick McKinnon, we got him. Yep, 9 touchdowns this year. It's tough for fantasy. As I mentioned earlier, like I play fantasy, probably going to do 4 leagues. I did win one last year, a couple bucks, which was nice. It was nice. But you've got to follow all this stuff very intently. And then the closer you look, like nobody else in the league is built like this. I know the Cincinnati Bengals are good. Coach is not on the Reed Belichick level. Sorry, Zach Taylor. Joe Burrow, very, very good. But they're paying Jamar Chase a lot. T. Higgins is going to get paid. Like, you can't really, in this model, keep multiple stars. Chiefs had to lose Tyreek Hill. And they lost nothing on the field when Tyreek Hill goes to the Miami Dolphins. And if Miami, can thrive with Hill for another year, great. But then they got to pay Tua, and we'll see what happens there. But the other thing that Kansas City has done extremely well is nail the draft the last few years. I started looking at the Kansas City Chiefs defense, folks. It's long been a problem. It just hasn't been great. It's Chris Jones, who, by the way, didn't show up to camp. Andy Reid was surprised. It'll be fine. But the Kansas City Chiefs secondary, promising. Defensive line, they've drafted there. We'll see. Linebackers, good. Listen, I know you don't like dynasties. I've been hyping the Golden State Warriors, greatest dynasty ever. I love the super teams in the NBA. I don't know if football fans will love this dynasty for the Chiefs that's coming. Like, nothing is going to stop this train short of Andy Reid retiring or Patrick Mahomes deciding, I'm retiring early or some, injury. But this Kansas City team right now is built because they have the new model. Get your superstar coach. And remember, Reid was not a superstar before he came to KC. Philadelphia got rid of him. He was on the market for like 7 minutes, but nevertheless, Reid and Mahomes, Belichick, Brady. I tried to look around the league to find the next duo of that, and it's like Stafford's up there in age, doesn't really match McVay's timeline, and you start looking around, and there really aren't a lot of them. Kansas City is now set up to really do some damage. I know everybody loves the Chargers. Colin's favorite team every year. Chargers. Like, we don't even know if their head coach is going to be here next year. And you start looking around and you're like, damn, Reid and Mahomes really are going to dominate. And then you start to wonder, can this be duplicated? And then the answer is kind of sort of like, not really. There are not a lot of Belichicks out there. But I will point out Belichick, too. He had a nice little run in Cleveland, short-lived, before he had to resurface in New England. So it's not like he was automatic superstar right out of the gate, Bill Belichick. Like, he was always a good coach, but now he's the greatest of all time. And you start to wonder, like, man, there really isn't this happening anywhere. Kyle Shanahan's got his own little thing going on in San Francisco where he thinks maybe he can rotate the quarterback every few years. We'll see how that works out. Garoppolo went extremely well. They got to a Super Bowl, another NFC title game. NFC title game. That one they lost, of course. But I don't think this is really going to be able to be done by many other teams because you really don't have a Patrick Mahomes caliber quarterback anywhere else. Now, Brady, of course, did take less money over the long haul in New England. He was able to do that because his wife was a supermodel who I think the net worth was like in the neighborhood of $500 million. So he could take less so everybody else got paid. The one big difference between this Chiefs budding dynasty and what the Patriots built is Belichick was a defensive guy, and I really do wonder if he's going to be able to pivot now at this late stage in his career the way he has pivoted for the last 2 decades, going from whether it's superstar receiver, 2 tight ends, heavy on the running backs, heavy on the slot receivers. He's constantly evolved. I don't know at this stage if Belichick has anything left to evolve into. I know we've put him on the hot seat, Boston media and this show. You kind of sort of wonder, is this the swan song for Belichick? And now Andy Reid and Mahomes take over and kind of wreck the league. Alex, you're nodding your head. I feel like you kind of agree with me here.
It's that time. We've seen it, just what Bill has not been able to do once Tom Brady left. Like, Tom Brady left, got a Super Bowl. We know he's the GOAT. They were a duo. They did their best work when they were together, and they're not together anymore. And it is Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid's time.
I would agree. I mean, unfortunately, as a Jets fan,
time.
Maybe
it is we'll that time. It doesn't matter. They're the perfect combo. They complement each other so perfectly. And you kind of got a behind the scenes look at that on the Netflix show Quarterback.
We've never seen a Rodgers-Mahomes postseason showdown. Maybe that's coming up in the playoffs.